Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. This episode I'm very excited about. I think it's going to be a good one, and I hope that you enjoy it. I was thinking that it would be fun to kind of take you guys behind the scenes of everything that I do leading into a competition, particularly a big competition like the CrossFit Games. I know by the time this is posted and you're hearing about it, it's a little bit delayed. So I'm posting this after the CrossFit Games has already happened, but I'm recording it before. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to kind of do a prep episode just kind of while I'm in the thick of all things prep. It's been on my mind a lot recently, and I feel like, I don't know, there's just some things that maybe you wouldn't know, maybe I didn't know before I started doing this, and maybe you might find it a little interesting. So this episode's more so just going to be fun. But yeah, not just what I physically pack in my suitcase. I mean, I will include that stuff, but also how I prepare a little bit mentally and physically and logistically so that I can show up feeling as confident as possible, because going into a competition feeling like you have control over yourself and control over as much of your surroundings as possible is key for someone like me who loves and thrives in routine and doesn't like change. Yeah, so especially when so many things at the CrossFit Games are unknown, that's kind of what they're known for, is being prepared for all the unknown. So yeah, I like to prepare a lot. And today I'm just going to be talking about and sharing all those things with you guys. So this is my first CrossFit Games since 2024. And I've obviously talked about it a lot. That season is honestly what prompted me to do a lot of inner self-work and honestly start this podcast and do a lot of things to work on myself, because as I've shared before, that season was the hardest season I've probably ever experienced. The whole lead up and everything. And I've just been reflecting a lot about how different it feels this time than it did at this time in 2024. It's honestly, it makes me feel so grateful for the work that I have put in on myself. Doing self-work and trying to improve your mentality and your mindset and just yourself as a whole, it's really hard, and it takes a lot of patience with yourself. It takes a lot of discipline, and it's a whole new learning experience. And not to say that I'm at the end of mine. It's always going to be a constant work in progress, and it's something that I still am continuing to work on to this day. But it truly just makes me, feel so grateful for the time and energy that I did put into myself, because I feel like I'm finally feeling the repercussions of that. And it just feels really good. And it makes me feel really proud of myself. I remember a lot about how I felt in the 2024 season as a whole. Right at the start of the Open, I remember feeling like, all right, it's another season. I got to get through. And right from the beginning of that season, it felt very challenging for me. I even remember, I think the week before quarterfinals, I needed to take a week off of training because it was just too much for me. I needed a break. And also, feeling that way at the start of a season is just a recipe for disaster, because things only get more intense the more you get into the season. So to be feeling that way at the very beginning was honestly very daunting. And yeah, so I remember I needed to take a vacation and like get away. Literally, I did not work out for a whole week. I just needed to reset my mind. And, you know, a week at that point wasn't enough to make really any change for myself or where I was at that time. I had a lot of work that needed to be done, but, yeah, it was just what I did at that time. And so then I got through quarters, and then I eventually got through semis, and somehow I was able to still pull through and qualify for the CrossFit Games. And then that's after semifinals is where I feel like all things just went downhill for me. I remember every single session. It was honestly a miracle if I didn't get through a session without crying and having a whole tantrum and everything. I remember leaving the gym every single day feeling worse than whenever I went in. I wasn't sleeping at night because I was only thinking about either the training that I did that day and how I didn't do good enough, I wasn't enough, or the training that I had to do tomorrow and stressing about how I have to do good in it. And it was just so consuming in the like mentally for me. It was so mentally consuming. And it was just a really, really, really hard time for me. I remember as the games were approaching, I always get pre-competition nerves. I always have. But this time it just feels so different. In 2024, I just felt like I wanted it to be over. I literally didn't even want to think about competing, which is really unfortunate because the fact that I was getting to compete at the CrossFit Games, like, that's not something that anybody can just do. Like, it takes a lot of work and discipline and consistency and so much effort to get to that place. And I feel like I was almost just taking it for granted, and I didn't appreciate the fact that I got to be there. And that's just something that I've been trying to work on a lot more recently, or that I feel so different this time, is I just feel so much more grateful for the experience. In the past, I wanted every single bit of training to be done with, and just all I could think about was being done and getting over it and getting through it. And now, like, my nerves before competition turned into so much stress and anxiety, and I would get upset in every single session. And then I remember every single workout I did, especially right before the games, it was like, oh my gosh, that workout went bad, I'm not ready. And that would happen like every time, and it was super stressful for me. And I would use every single workout that I did as like a representation of how ready I was or how prepared I was, which isn't true. You know, you all always have days, and especially toward the end of training, you're really in the thick of it, and your body is probably tired before you start the taper, and it's just a lot. I put really high expectations on myself. Whereas this time, I feel like I've never been so calm at this stage in the season. I've never felt more at peace with myself, just in the sense that back to feeling grateful. I'm grateful. I'm trying to take in the last few days of this time of season where I'm feeling super fit. I feel like I've worked really hard. I feel like up to this point in my training, I've dedicated so much to my training and this season. And I feel like looking back, I don't have any regrets. So now at this point, I'm feeling like I'm about a week out from the CrossFit Games, and I'm feeling like I'm just excited to perform and show up competing, knowing that I've done literally everything I can. And at this point, I feel as prepared as I possibly can be. And I just feel extremely proud and grateful of my body and of my mind that I was able to get through all of this training and with very minimal injuries or setbacks. And we put our bodies through so much at this stage, and I'm just grateful for the fact that my body is even able to do this. It's just such a whole new perspective. Everything is about perspective. And I follow this girl on TikTok. I forget her name. I'm so bad at looking at usernames. But she just mainly posts about she works a 9-to-5 job, but on the side she loves yoga. She does she recently just did an Ironman 70.3. So she's very active. And anyways, I just love her page because she talks a lot about perspective and how that can truly change the way that you see things and ultimately the way that you show up for things. And I've always loved following along with everything that she posts, but I just love hearing her speak to that because I feel like now more than ever, it truly resonates with me. And just the fact that, as something as simple as there are people out there that wish to be doing what I'm extremely grateful to be doing right now. And in the past, like I said, I feel like I took that for granted. And right now I'm just really trying to be in the moment and appreciative of everything that I can do. And I just want to celebrate that instead of punish myself for that. And so I think that's been the main shift, is just a lot more of feeling grateful. And yeah, so it just feels really good. I feel, like I said, a lot more calm than I ever have at this time, and it feels really good. So yeah, that is ultimately just how the difference of how I've been feeling now versus the last time I showed up at the games. But I've talked about my sticky note system a little bit in the past, in another episode. Pretty sure it was the Mayhem Classic one. I talked about how I wrote out on a bunch of sticky notes onto my mirror, basically positive self-affirmations. And I had never done that before, but I did it for the first time at that competition. And they're just a bunch of positive reminders and sayings to just help keep me grounded and focused and in control of myself. And I did that again. I think I wrote them last week, at the end of last week. And I stuck them up on my mirror here at home because I actually felt, initially I was kind of like, maybe this is kind of silly. Like, I honestly cringe at self-affirmations, like saying positive self-affirmations to myself out loud. And honestly, I feel like it's just because I never truly believed those things about myself. And now I have them back up on my mirror. I've added a few new ones. And I'm really trying to get more confident reading those things out loud and actually trying to believe them about myself. Things like I'm feeling prepared. I'm going to work my absolute hardest. I'm doing the best that I can. Things like that. I'm feeling so fit and strong. Things like that I feel like are really good reminders to help ground me and bring me back down to how I want to be feeling, and not get distracted by all of the nervous, negative talk. So yeah, I feel like this is something I've never done at home leading into a competition. Like I said, I did it when I was at the Mayhem Classic. That was the first time I did it. So this is the second time I've done it now. And I feel like ever since sticking them up on my mirror, already I have felt such a difference in my mindset and just the way that I feel about myself overall. So I highly recommend, if you get really nervous before a competition and you get really distracted by outside noise, coming up with some phrases or things that you want to say to yourself and remind yourself, and stick it up on your mirror in your bathroom. So every time you get up, you're brushing your teeth, you can read them. You're washing your face, you read them. Before you go to bed, you read them. You're reading them multiple times a day. And the more that you start to speak these things to yourself, the more that you're able to actually start believing them yourself. So I've learned a lot about confidence, and I just think that, confidence isn't something that you just magically wake up with on a competition day. It's something that has to be practiced and built over time in your preparation. And so, this has just been something that I've incorporated into this preparation, and I've already felt the benefits from it. And I will be bringing those sticky notes to the games and sticking them up on my mirror as well. So that's just something that I have really enjoyed doing and has felt to really work for me as well. All right, on to more the fun side of things. This section is going to be how I prep myself physically for competition. I find this part to be so fun. And it just makes you kind of giddy for competition, because you are about to be, there's a lot of media aspects, there's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of videos that you do. So obviously you want to look your best. So these are some of the things that I do before competition that just make me feel really good about myself and ready to be on camera. The first one, I've talked about my skin before. My skin has been pretty bad recently, which I'm not really sure what the change has been and why it's all of a sudden been super inflamed. But I did get a facial. I don't get facials very often, but I got one recently, and I just feel like my skin, I don't necessarily always have a ton of pimples. It's just really clogged. My skin just gets so clogged. And so I feel like getting this facial just really helped clear out my skin, and just make it feel a lot more camera glowy ready. So that was exciting. So that was something that I did. Another thing, I would normally get my hair done. I didn't this time because I feel like I got it done not that long ago, and I'm trying to grow it out. Usually I get a little trim, get it colored. Although more recently I've been into the more natural hair look, my natural hair color. It's also a lot more cost effective, obviously. But I didn't get a trim also because I'm trying to grow my hair out. I feel like it's a bit short, but that is usually something that I do before competition, is I just get my hair done. I have been working on my summer tan. I don't do any fake tans or spray tans or anything. I personally just feel like I sweat too much for that. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm too lazy for that. My sister does it. And I know sometimes if she sweats, sometimes it'll run. And I just sweat way too much to be doing a fake tan. But I have been working out a lot outside. I've been running and, going on walks and stuff like that. So I have been catching a tan. So that always looks really good on camera. So that's something I've been keeping in mind and working on. Okay, another one here is so obviously at the CrossFit Games, they give us uniforms that we have to wear, and you're not allowed to alter them in any way or anything. So everyone basically just looks the same across the board, which is obviously the point. But sometimes you kind of just want to make yourself either stand out or just feel a little cuter. So something that I've done this time is I picked out some cute hair accessories to kind of spice up my uniform, because obviously I can do my hair however I want. So I bought these really cute scrunchies. I've got a bunch of them, bunch of different colors, so I can swap them out. As you guys all know, I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, I love wearing a slick back bun and wearing that hairstyle with a scrunchie over top. super easy to do. So probably catch me doing that a lot. So yeah, bunch of hair scrunchies. I've also got some hair bands that maybe I can play around with a little bit. That's something fun. Another thing here going with the uniform is shoes. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but we are allowed to wear our own shoes. They give us a pair of shoes as a part of the uniform, but we're not technically required to wear those shoes, mostly just because most people aren't used to training in those types of shoes. Everyone's feet are different. And so that kind of would be an unfair advantage if they mandated shoes. But anyways, I will obviously be wearing my tier trainers, but to make it a little more fun, I've started bedazzling some of my shoes. I love bedazzling things recently. I think it's so fun. Also, when I used to dance, like we would bedazzle our costumes and like everything all the time. So I absolutely love doing that. I feel like it just adds a little girly flair. So I have been bedazzling some of my shoes. So I'm really excited about that. You probably can't even see them like sparkly from the crowd or honestly even on the cameras, but I don't know. It's just something that I'm excited about. Makes me excited about it. So yeah, I've been doing that. And then finally, getting my nails done. I haven't decided like what I want to do yet this time. I need to get them done in the next like 2 days probably. I usually go for a pink, hot pink for competition. That's usually like my lucky color, my tried and true good color that I wear. So I'm not sure if I want to do some sort of design with it. Hot pink and light pink kind of combo, polka dots potentially. I don't know. I'll probably, well, at this point when you're hearing it, you probably have already seen them if I've posted it on Instagram already. But yeah, that is still TBD, but I always get my nails done because it just feels super cute and feminine. But yeah, look good, feel good, right? That's what I always say. And yeah, some people might think that these things don't matter at all. And maybe they don't for others, but for me, they absolutely do. And I just know when I feel more put together, I just feel more confident overall. And the more confident I feel, the better I perform, I feel like. So yeah, it's not always about necessarily like looking perfect, but it's just about feeling the best version of yourself. And this definitely is something that I've learned over time about myself that I just really enjoy doing and it makes me feel good. So I'm going to keep doing it. All right, moving on to the next section. Everything that I'm packing in my suitcase. I always overpack. Like always. I am that girl every single time that I travel. I don't have a scale at home, so I never weigh my bag at home. Every time I get to the airport, my bag is always overweight, and it is really annoying. Even when I think like, okay, I've done it this time. I've done a good job. I'm not going to have to pay for an overweight bag. I still get there and it's like, oh, it's overweight. Every single time. So I bet this time it's going to be no different probably. But I mean, I always say I'd rather have too much than forget something important, because then the times that I do try and pack light and I actually pack light, I get there and I'm like, oh, I didn't bring this. I forgot this. Also, I'm someone who like, this is a bit of a tangent, but for outfits, like I can't be like, okay, Tuesday I'm wearing this and Wednesday I'm wearing this. Like I need to have options because I'm not always feeling that vibe in the moment, you know, where it's like my Tuesday outfit that I set, if I do a little athletic dress, but then I'm like, I don't feel like wearing that today, then I don't want to wear that day. And when I don't like my outfit, then it's not a good day. So anyways, that's just why I need a lot of stuff. That was a bit of a tangent. But anyways, okay, we're going to get into my gym necessities first. Always need thumb tape and backup thumb tape. I don't know, some people work out without wearing any thumb tape. I mean, I used to be that person, but now since I've started, there is just no going back. I am very particular though about the type of thumb tape that I use. I used to use, I don't know, just like regular CrossFit thumb tape that you would get. I have really, really, really sweaty hands though. So there's only one type of tape that actually sticks to my hands when I'm working out. And I think it's some sort of like medical tape. Like it's not cute. It's not like there's all these like super cute pattern thumb tapes. Mine is not. Mine is just white like medical tape. But it does the trick for me. So I can never forget to pack that because almost no one has the tape that I use. Next is my knee sleeves. Obviously, I rely so much on my knee sleeves. They come with me everywhere. Actually, this is reminding me now I should probably wash my knee sleeves before I go. And maybe just your reminder, wash your knee sleeves because those things get so gross. Okay, next, resistance bands. I am always packing and bringing resistance bands. I feel like, you know, you go to gyms, they always have everything that you need. They have all the bands and everything. But when you're going to a competition, the thing that they never have in the warm-up area is bands. And I use bands a lot to warm up. So I always need to bring my own, which is totally fine. So that is something I cannot forget. Another thing is a lacrosse ball, kind of straightforward to roll out your muscles. However you might want to use that. That is good. Packing lots of grips. I have my pair of grips that I've been wearing recently, but they're almost done. So I got another brand new pair. Actually, I got 2 brand new pairs because I am not about to have what happened to me at Mayhem happen again. Mid-workout, my grip totally ripped in half. And that honestly impacted my workout a lot, I feel like. So I am not going to have that happen again. I've got lots of backups, and you best believe I will be bringing my backups out onto the competition floor as well. So yeah, lots of grips. Another thing is my skipping rope plus extra cables. Same thing. You never know when you might have a malfunction. And you always might say, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen this time. That's what I said to myself at Mayhem with my grips, and it happened. So you always need to be prepared, especially when you're traveling and you don't have access to like all your things at home, bringing extra cables as well. Next is obviously lots of shoes. We don't know all the events that are happening yet at the CrossFit Games, so got all things, regular trainers, multiple different types of runners. I don't wear lifters, but anyways, you also want to have, well, maybe not everybody, but I also like to have different color options of shoes. So lots of shoes are going to be packed. And of course, that's something that just takes up so much space in the luggage. So I might need to bring multiple suitcases for that. Another thing is swim stuff. So we are swimming. So I will be bringing my goggles, swim cap, and bathing suit. We're probably going to be given our own or like separate swim caps and bathing suits as a part of the uniform, but I'm probably also going to be swimming in San Jose before the actual event starts. So I need to bring my own stuff with me as well. And then obviously a weightlifting belt because that is very necessary when competing. We already know event 3, 4, and 5 on day 1, which is a bunch of like max lifts. So I'll definitely be needing my belt. Of course, it's going to be my Me vs. Me belt, 2-pood belt. If you're ever looking for a new weightlifting belt, you can check that one out on the 2-pood site. My Me vs. Me weightlifting belt. So yeah, I'll be wearing that one. But yeah, in a competition like the games, it's honestly so much a battle. It's a battle of recovery and who can recover the best. And we know this year that there's going to be 20 events, which is literally insane. I think the most that we've ever had or that I've ever done is like 13 or 14, which felt crazy at the time. 20 is ridiculous. But yeah, at that point, there are just so many people who are extremely fit at the games that ultimately it just comes down to who can recover the best to keep showing up. So with that said, I'm also going to be bringing as many of my recovery necessities as possible. I have been loving I use like a muscle rub in combination with a scraper. I don't know how else to describe the scraper. It's just like this little metal thing. It's a little odd to travel with because it kind of could look like a weapon. It's not. But anyways, it's just really good for releasing muscle fascia. So I use that with a muscle rub often, like in my recovery at home and during my training anyways. So that is something I will definitely be bringing. I'm thinking about possibly bringing my compression boots as well. I have those Normatec boots where it like squeezes your legs and then releases, and sometimes they have those on site, but it usually gets pretty busy and it's like always hard to get to them and be able to use them. So I use those a lot also. I have them here at home. I use them a lot. And so, yeah, that's also just something to keep in mind throughout competition, is incorporating as like keeping everything as normal as possible. Like you don't want to all of a sudden stop doing all recovery things during this competition when it's especially necessary. And yeah, just totally neglecting your body in that sense, because now more than ever, that is the time that your body's going to be needing it. I also have this red light thing that I'm hoping I can try and bring as well, because I find red light to be very helpful. It's not like a full body thing. It's just like, I don't want to say spot treatment because that's not quite, but like, I can't think of the word, but I think you know what I mean. But yeah, everything helps. Honestly, I also try to take advantage of the on-site body workers between events to just, help feel good. Oh, also ice baths. I obviously am not going to be bringing my own, but they have them on site. And I do them at home here, mainly while I'm doing contrast therapy with the sauna for recovery. But during the games, jumping into a cold plunge after every event, if possible, is like such a game changer. You don't really want to do that at home during training, because going into a cold plunge right after training kind of defeats the purpose of your training. It's like counterproductive. But at the games, you're not necessarily trying to make gains. You're trying to just perform your best, not feel sore, and all those things across all of the events. So cold plunging really helps tremendously to reduce muscle soreness. So that is always something that I take great advantage of. Also, especially because it's going to be pretty hot, I'm sure. I don't know how many events we have outside, but making sure that you're not dealing with any like heat illness is also crucial. So anyways, that's not everything that I'm able to pack for recovery, but that's everything that I keep in mind when I'm thinking about like my recovery going into a competition. Okay. Next section is the food and supplement necessities. So I like to bring as much as I can when it comes to competition snacks. I use all these things at home, and I just find trying something new, it's really not a good idea during competition, because you never know how your body and your stomach will react to it. So it's really important to stick to what you know. I feel like I kind of have a sensitive stomach, and so I don't like to test it out, especially, like I said, during competition. So the things that I'm always bringing with me are electrolytes, lots of those, drinking those constantly throughout the day. It is so important to stay hydrated. I think it can be really easy throughout competition to forget to drink water and eat food. I know almost no one is like hungry during competition, just with all of the nerves and the stress. And when you have multiple events in a day, you don't really want to eat a meal, because having a lot of food in your stomach and then trying to work out, it'll give you cramps. Like, it just doesn't feel very good. So it's very important to try your best to eat snacks throughout the day, things that are light in your stomach, but that you can like eat to replenish. Some of my favorite snacks, I eat a lot of protein bars. I love the Go Macro bars. Those are really good. Pretty clean as well. And then also the RX bars, but the oat ones. those are newer and they're not at all stores, but I've started getting them recently and they're really good because if you've ever had RX bars, the consistency can be a little bit tough at times. Like it's kind of hard to chew and eat, but these oatmeal ones are a lot softer and a lot easier to eat. So I really love those ones. So I bring lots of those. I love Heavenly Hunks. If you've ever had those, they're just like these little oatmeal ball things, squares, and they're really good, super easy to eat, good carbs. So I eat lots of those. I'll be bringing a lot of those. Apple sauces, I eat a lot. They're, once again, quick sugars, just super easy to get down. I love dried mangoes and dates during competition. Again, quick carbs, easy to eat, light on the stomach. And then Gatorade as well. I'll be drinking that constantly. So those are a lot of the things that I can pack in my suitcase and bring. Other things that I will eat that I won't necessarily be able to pack throughout the day. I mean, I'll try and like make some oatmeal. Oatmeal is usually pretty safe on my stomach. You can get those like packets that you just add water to. Those as opposed to like eating a whole meal during the day. Oatmeal is usually something that I'll like, if I need something a little more substance, but not like a full meal, I'll probably eat something like that. Bananas, I eat a lot of those, apples, just like things like that are usually my go-to. Oh, and then just like protein shakes as well. I bring my own protein powder, of course. I am someone who stresses a lot about my protein powder. I only will eat it if it's the NSF certified. Obviously, I feel like athletes are very conscious of that. So I'm obviously super particular about that. So I'll always bring my own protein powder and my own creatine, my own beta alanine, all my supplements, and then of course my vitamins. I used to be someone who during competition, I just totally stopped taking all my supplements, usually just because I forget and I'm like out of my routine. And I honestly only remember to take my vitamins and supplements because it's a part of my routine. As soon as I'm out of my routine, I totally forget. But I'm trying to be a lot more diligent about that because obviously I'm used to taking them on a daily basis. And at that point, you need all the all of the nutrients that you can get during competition because like I said, you're not really that hungry and it is such a battle to eat during competition. It's so hard. That's like the last thing you want to do. All I can picture right now is just like in the morning, just literally struggling to get food down, but you got to do it because otherwise you won't have energy. But yeah, so taking my vitamins too is going to be super important for feeling good throughout the competition. So yeah, the goal ultimately is just to have familiar foods that I know that my stomach can handle well. And yeah, like I said, I don't often like to eat meals throughout the day. I'll try and eat a good breakfast and a good dinner, but just lots of snacks throughout the day are super important. All right, now on to my kind of like, this is my other section. So competition weekends are mentally very exhausting. So I always like to have things to kind of distract my mind and help me wind down, especially at night, and stop thinking about the competition. So I am someone who definitely will, like, I will fixate on a workout or replay the day that happened or dream about the upcoming day. So I always feel like I just need something to help get my mind settled. I will be bringing a good book. I have been reading this book recently. It's called Happy Place. It's super chill, which I love. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a super suspenseful like book that's going to get you, scared or excited or whatever. But I also love this book because it's just such an easy read. It's so light, it's super chill, and I feel like especially reading that book before bed is great. Sometimes I read books before bed and I'm like more like I'm not tired at all because now I'm just more stressed than I was before I read the book because I'm now thinking about the book and dreaming about the book and it's just too much. So I will be bringing this book, Happy Place, because like I said, it's just it helps me wind down in the evening. I can think about the storyline, which is super chill, and it can put me to bed really well. So I will be bringing that. Obviously, sleeping, kind of going in with the recovery. I know this is, again, a bit of a tangent, but making sure you're getting enough sleep during competition is so important and essential. So if I can have a good book that can put me to sleep really fast, I'm going to be reading it. So I'll bring that. Also, throughout competition, I like to pick some sort of show that I can watch throughout the weekend to also kind of just distract my mind. Whenever I'm not in the competition and like obviously needing to be focused on that, I don't want to be thinking about it at all. Like otherwise I'm just stressing myself out more. So I haven't picked what show I'm going to watch yet. I have a couple shows that I have in mind that I've been wanting to watch. I've heard good things about Off Campus. Maybe I'll start that. I don't know. I might need to surf the webs a little more to kind of figure out what show. I know there's a new season of Bridgerton that I haven't watched yet. So I don't know. I got a couple options, but I usually, I like to pick a show that I can watch because I also try not scroll on Instagram because that's where you're getting all the updates, all the highlights, all the everything from competition day. And my feed is just full of everything. And I personally don't like to look at that stuff mid competition. So instead of reaching for my phone to kind of distract myself, which definitely won't distract myself during a competition, I like to pick a show that I will be watching. And when I'm not competing, I'm usually watching my show. So yeah, there's that. Obviously bringing headphones and having a good warm-up playlist. I feel like that's just pretty straightforward. And then also cozy hotel clothes. I've talked about in another episode before, like romanticizing the little things. And this is definitely something that I like to do. I just think having cute little cozy hotel clothes and outfits, it just, I don't know. I just find little routines like this just help make my hotel room feel a little more like home. Obviously, if you know me, you know that I'm a homebody and I love my routine. And so this part just feels super important to just make it feel, make me feel more at home. 'Cause the stress of the days and everything, it can be a lot and just exhausting. And so to kind of just feel some familiarity with my little PJs and nighttime routine, I'll take it. But yeah. Okay. That was kind of like my other section, but I also just want to mention, this is something I feel like not a lot of people think about, but I'm actually really stressed about it currently because, okay, so I'll just tell you what it is first. Put your important competition things in your carry-on bag. I am super stressed right now because we booked our flight to go and we have a layover. Our layover is only 90 minutes. To me, that feels not long at all, especially because our first flight, we're sitting at the very back of the plane. And our first flight leaves at like 4:30 p.m. And if there's going to be delays in the flights, like usually later flights in the day, there is some sort of delay. And with only 90 minutes of a layover time, that's not a lot of time, especially if you get delayed. And I'm just so stressed right now about my bag getting lost and not being there with me when I arrive. And so I'm trying to stay calm, but that is really stressing me out right now. But it is just super important if you're traveling for an important competition, especially if you have layovers, to pack your important stuff that you feel like you're going to want to need in your carry-on bag in the case that your bag gets a little lost. So I'll be packing things like my grips, my knee sleeves, my thumb tape, like a lot of my gym necessity stuff I'm going to be putting into my carry-on just in case. Hopefully I won't have to deal with that, but just in case, you never know. Thankfully, I've never had it happen, but I've heard about it happening, and you just never want to put yourself in that position because, as I've talked about throughout this whole episode already, competition is just very stressful, and you want to try and minimize as many stressors as you possibly can. So this being one of them, getting there, getting all your things there, it is super important. So that's always like a rule of thumb that I try and do. So hopefully it goes well this time. Hopefully I'm stressed for no reason. But yeah, at the end of the day, none of these things are, necessarily determine how I perform, all the categories that I just talked about and everything. But everything that I do beforehand helps me just arrive feeling prepared and organized and confident. And what I've learned over the years is just how important the preparation really is. And it's just about giving myself the opportunity to walk into the competition feeling like I've already done everything I possibly can. So, yeah, that is all I got in this episode. By the time I posted this, like I said, I will have already finished competing, which is so crazy. I feel like it came up so fast. Like it felt so far away, and now it's like already here. I'm a week away. But yeah, hopefully it went well. I think I'll probably be doing a part 2 or like a follow-up whenever I'm home at some point for the next episode, recapping the games. So stay tuned for that one. But thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.